There's only one thing that will make your dream impossible to achieve. If you ignore this one thing, you will remain exactly where you are and fail to make any significant progress in your life. This one thing is, of course, your fear, alright? But as Marianne Williamson once said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And in this video, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful strategies on how to conquer fear so that you can use it to fuel your masculine development rather than have it use you and keep you playing small in life. So the first strategy I have for you on how to conquer fear is to cultivate the number 1 virtue. Now you might be wondering what virtue has to do with conquering fear, but as I discussed in a previous video, all the great Greco-Roman philosophers told us that to be a man is to live with virtue, alright? In fact, the word virtue literally comes from the Latin root virtus, which means manliness, alright? So we have to live with virtue if we are to become the strong, grounded men that we are striving to become. Now, I'm a huge proponent of Stoic philosophy, alright? And in Stoicism, they have the 4 cardinal virtues. The first one is wisdom or knowledge for life. The second one is justice or living in integrity with your ideals. The third one is temperance or self-mastery of your emotions, your inclinations, and your appetites. And the fourth one is fortitude or courage. Now, I've made entire videos about this in the past. I'll link out to it somewhere here. But courage comes from the Latin word for the word heart, alright? And just like your heart is the organ that vitalizes all your other organs, courage is the virtue that vitalizes all the other virtues. And this is why if we are to narrow and close the gap between the men we are and the men that we want to be and we know we're capable of being, then courage is the number 1 thing that we must cultivate, alright? Now, as the great Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, courage is not the absence of fear, but the assessment that something else is more important than fear. So ask yourself the question about what's more important to you, growth or comfort? Because if you're seeking growth, then you have to leave your comfort zone, all right? Because growth can only occur outside of your comfort zone. Think about when you're in the gym, if you're lifting the same weights every single day, then of course you're not leaving your comfort zone and you will not grow. Similarly, if you're seeking growth in any area of your life, you have to leave your comfort zone, which is by definition uncomfortable, aka scary, all right? But as Nelson Mandela once said, the brave man is not he who feels afraid. The brave man is he who conquers his fear, alright? Now, courage is like a muscle, alright? In the sense that the more you exercise it, the more you will increase your ability to demonstrate it. And the best way I've found to demonstrate courage every single day is by starting with cold showers, alright? Now, I've made entire videos on this. I talk about cold showers all the time, but the bottom line is that I've been taking cold showers for more than 3 years now, and they've radically changed the trajectory of my life, alright? But to this day, when I'm in the shower and I'm standing there about to turn it on, there's a whisper in my head that's telling me to skip out and not to do it. But I obviously turn the knob anyway, demonstrate that courage, do the hard thing, and I feel amazing, refreshed, energized afterwards. And the bottom line is that once I am able to exert that willpower, once I'm able to demonstrate that courage, and later on in the day, when I'm faced with the decision of choosing the easy way or the right way, then I'm much more likely to go down the right way. And the reason for this is because I've already set momentum in that direction, alright? So if there's one thing you do after watching this video, make sure to implement cold showers as a regular part of your morning routine and use it to fuel and build your courage. Now, the second strategy I have for you on how to conquer fear is to realize that you're not the only one, alright? Because fear is a common aspect of the human experience. It's what's actually deeply ingrained in our physiology because it's what kept our ancestors alive, alright? Our ancestors evolved in a very different environment than the one we live in right now. In their environment, their lives were always at risk, they were always in mortal danger, and fear always helped them keep a lookout for anything that might be a threat to their survival because it's always around. But of course, in the modern world that we live in, we do not have threats to our moral danger, all right? The only threats that we face are threats to our psychological well-being, threats to our ego, threats to our status, and at the end of the day, all of these threats end up being irrational because they actually block our growth and hold us back from doing the things that we need to get done. All right, so realize that you're not the only one. And I've looked at a lot of high performers over the years, and I read a quote from Tiger Woods actually, and he said that the day that I'm not nervous teeing off on the first hole is the day that I will quit. This is coming from Tiger Woods, who is history's first billionaire. He was dominating the sport for decades. He actually made a comeback recently as well, and he's saying that if he doesn't feel nervous, that's a sign that something's wrong, right? So when you're feeling this fear, it's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It means that you're human. And I'll give you another example of Bill Russell, and he is one of the greatest NBA basketball players of all time. I think he won something like 11 NBA championships in his 13-year career, and is tied for winning the most amount of championships as an athlete in a North American sports league, all right? And Bill Russell, before any one of his big matches, you know what he used to do? He used to be puking his guts out, all right? So realize that when you're feeling this way, you're not the only one. It's a common aspect of the human experience. And realize when you feel fear, it's not because it's you, it's because you're human, all right? And developing that self-compassion will allow you to better deal with this feeling as well. And this leads us to the third strategy I have for you on how to conquer fear, and that is to change your association with fear, all right? So the thing with us humans is that it's not our experiences that shape us, okay? It's our interpretation of those experiences that end up determining the quality of our lives. And the thing with fear is that it's a word, all right? And like all words, it's a label that we use to describe something. And fear is a label that is used to describe a particular emotion, but before that label is placed there, actually, that energy is completely neutral. And what determines whether it's labeled as fear or whether it's labeled as excitement is determined by the story that you have behind it, all right? So if you see challenges in your life as threats to your well-being, then you will channel that energy into fear. On the other hand, if you see the challenges in your life as stepping stones towards growth and becoming a more stronger and grounded version of yourself, then of course you will have a positive expectation of the event and actually begin to use that energy and channel it into excitement, right? So this is a huge one. You have to change your association with fear. So the next time you feel that anxiety creeping up, you feel that fearful feeling creeping up inside, the first thing to do is realize that it's not because it's you, it's because you're human. Have that self-awareness, get some perspective on it, and begin to change your association with it, all right? Realize that most of the stories that you've told yourself about the situation come from having a negative expectation about it. So get clear on what those negative expectations are, and you realize that most of them are completely irrational, right? They'll probably have something to do with your ego, about fear of failure, about fear of embarrassing yourself, fear of looking bad. Any of these fears are irrational because they're blocking your growth, all right? Shift from that perspective and channel it and transmute that energy into excitement. Start looking at it as how you're going to come out on the other side as a more powerful and stronger version of yourself. Come out on the other side growing, all right, being a different person and evolving into someone who actually did something you never done before, and experiencing something that you've never experienced before, and as a result obviously just narrowing the gap between who you are and who you're capable of being. So change your association and channel it from fear to excitement. And that brings us nicely to the fourth strategy on how to conquer fear, and that is to master your breath. Because I read a quote just right now, and it said that fear is excitement without the breath, all right? And this is so true, because if you can master your breath, if you're in that anxious situation or you're feeling anxiety, take a deep breath into your diaphragm, let loose, get perspective on the situation, relax, and realize that this situation that you're fearful of is actually the direction which will lead to the most amount of growth for you as well, all right? So use your fear, use that anxiety as a signal, as a cue for you to focus on your breath. Like right now, I'm filming this in the middle of an apartment complex. I think there's no people around here right now, but I was feeling kind of nervous before starting this video. So I took a deep breath into my diaphragm, let loose and focused on the growth that will take place after I actually finish filming this video, alright? Which will be providing the value, getting my YouTube channel up because I haven't uploaded in a long time, and there are a lot of reasons. I'm rambling on at this point, but the bottom line is that you have to master your breath, alright? If you feel fearful, if you feel that anxiety creeping up, take a deep breath, get perspective on the situation, and begin to go back to step 3 and channel that fear into excitement, and realize that this activity you're engaging in right now will lead to the most amount of growth for you moving forward. And that brings us to the 5th and final strategy on how to conquer fear, and that is to master your energy levels, all right? Because as the great NFL coach Vince Lombardi once said, he said that fatigue makes cowards of us all right? And I can certainly attest to this because if I am waking up after a night of sleep deprivation, I'm fundamentally a different person, all right? Because if I don't get the sleep I want, then I can't function how I want. If I can't function how I want, then I just feel even worse, and it's a downward spiral that I definitely want to avoid. And this is why I've made sleep such an important priority in my life, all right? Now, there's also other research that demonstrates one night of sleep deprivation leading to the insulin levels of a diabetic the next morning. Furthermore, one night of sleep deprivation can also slash your testosterone levels in half. So overall, sleep is definitely something you don't want to neglect. I'll link out to some videos somewhere around here. I've made a lot of videos on this, but sleep is definitely the most important thing, right? Because if you don't have the energy to crawl out of bed in the morning, then it will be very difficult for you to actually pursue the situations that will lead to your growth. Now, of course, there's a lot of other factors that come into determining your energy level, and I've made a free, powerful video training on the 7-step blueprint that helped me conquer fatigue, overcome anxiety, and master every aspect of my mental, physical, and sexual energy. If you're interested in how I was able to do so, then check out the link in the description, or you can go to youre.com/case-study. All right, it's a free video training, and I reveal everything that I learned in my journey of going from fear to freedom and mastering every aspect of my energy. All right, so if you learned something new in this video, click the subscribe button because I release new content just like this every single week. And finally, leave a comment below and let me know your answer to this question. What would you do if you had no fear? Leave a comment below. I'm really curious to find out, all right? This has been Mo Salim, and I'll see you soon.